operator today. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. If you would like to ask a question, press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press the pound key. Thank you. Mr. Kern, please go ahead, sir.
Thanks, Bonnie. A couple of conference notes before we begin with Coach Wolford of Youngstown State. The league has 5 games this week, including 4 that will be shown on ESPN. The conference-produced television game of the week is the Indiana State at Illinois State game from Normal, Illinois at 1 o'clock Central. 4 teams are ranked in the top 25 this week, including North Dakota State, Northern Iowa, South Dakota State, and Youngstown State. Southern Illinois just outside of the top 25 at number 26 in the Sports Network poll, also receiving votes in the coaches poll. Kurt Hess of Youngstown State was the league offensive player of the week. He's won national honors from 2 different agencies, and the Penguins are sitting at 6-1, just one of 8 teams nationally with 6 victories on the year. Also sitting at 3-0 in the conference, joining North Dakota State as the league's only 2 perfect teams so far as we approach the halfway point of the conference schedule this weekend. At this time, let's go ahead and welcome our first coach on today's call. It's Youngstown State's Eric Wolford. Penguins hosting Western Illinois this Saturday in Youngstown. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well as well. Let's talk about
got a little coffee and donuts going or what? What do you guys got going on over there?
I have coffee, no donuts.
Better make sure that you're not putting any Baileys in there.
We'll get a donut sponsor for next week.
I gotcha.
All right. Let's talk about Western Illinois and the problems they might pose for you this weekend. They turned it over quickly a couple times last week against South Dakota State, and the Jackrabbits went ahead and had 4 interceptions on the day, but that's atypical for Bob's club. And talk about this Saturday's game for us.
Well, I think when you really take a good look at the South Dakota State game, the impressive thing for me is we all know how good South Dakota State is and how well they're coached. So starting with that, Western Illinois was able to run the ball for almost 150 yards against them. At the same time, Western Illinois' defense was able to hold South Dakota State's offense to about 110 yards net rushing. One of those runs was an 80-yard run. So out of 31 attempts, 110 yards, you can do the math there. So the turnovers were a major part of the game. Obviously, as coaches, I know they'll get that corrected. But I see our team is playing hard in all 3 phases of the game. And, they've got a good scheme. And they get accountable, whether it's on offensive, defensive, special teams. And I've been impressed with our team so far. They had every opportunity to win the Minnesota game. And there's a couple breaks here or there. And played well, really, in all their games. And just got to take care of the turnovers.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go ahead and open it up for some questions for you. Questions from the media for Coach Eric Wolford.
To ask Coach a question, press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Our first question comes from Wendell Scranton of the Springfield News Leader.
Yeah, Coach, it seems like to be an elite team at this level, you need an elite quarterback, and it sure appears that Kurt Hess has grown into that this year. Can you just talk about his play a little bit and how important the quarterback is to succeeding at this level?
Well, I think in any league, whether it's the NFL or Missouri Valley, what have you, quarterback play is huge, and you have to always look at what you're asking him to do. The better supporting cast that he has, the less that you can have to ask him to play out on the edge. But Kurt Hess is a 4-year starter. He's been around here a long time. He's got a great supporting cast around him as far as other weapons. And he just knows that at the end of the day, just do what you're coached to do. Manage the football game. Make good decisions. And if he does that, we have opportunities to win. When you go out and try to do something you're not coached to do, you're going to have a problem. And that's the biggest thing is just let us coach you. Do what you're coached to do, and the place will be there.
Thanks very much.
Yes, sir.
Again, to ask a question, press star 1.
Just to follow up to your question, Kurt Hess is the all-time passing leader at Youngstown State. He ranks number 4 all-time in the league's passing yardage list with over 8,000 yards, and the league has 4 quarterbacks with now 5,000 plus yards. Our next question will come from Jim Powers of the Valley Radio Report.
Coach, how are you?
I'm good, Coach Powers. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, you know, everybody's talking about Kirk, talking about Martin, and how the offense is just doing some great things. But you know what? What's sticking out to me is the defensive play. Your defense has really, really stepped up its game this year, and especially talk about Don Delisio.
Don Delisio has been around here a long time, too, and, you know, we expect him to obviously play well game in and game out. At the same time, we've been able to get turnovers, you know. This day and age in college football right now, whether, I don't care what league it is, I think you're going to give up yards. You know, you got to find something that's going to be a big impact, and that's obviously being good on third down and creating turnovers. And that's been a difference in our football games, is we've been able to create turnovers, and that's a big thing we talk about all the time. We've always stressed it, and we've had some good fortune this year in creating some turnovers, and that's really been a big part.
Absolutely, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you, sir.
Well, if that was your last question, thank you for your time, and good luck against Western.
All right, take care.
All right. South Dakota's Joe Glenn is with us. The Coyotes headed to Northern Iowa to play the Panthers in Cedar Falls this Saturday. Panthers are ranked in the top 15 in both polls, capping at number 11 in the Sports Network. Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Congratulations on back-to-back close victories. Those are tough to come by, but back-to-back 17-14 wins.
Yeah, that was finally got on top of a couple of those games. We lost 4 of those by 3 points last year.
Let's talk about Northern Iowa, a team that's actually coming off of back-to-back losses against 2 very good football teams. One of them North Dakota State, the other one Southern Illinois, both by narrow results. Talk about Saturday's game for us. What needs to happen for you guys?
I think what's going on at Northern Iowa is they got a terrific football team. You see who they've played, the likes of Iowa State with the win, and McNeese State was number 9 at the time, and played North Dakota State to the buzzer, and then lost a heartbreaker to Southern Illinois. And I think with some fallout after the North Dakota State game, I think they're a little nicked up. For instance, Johnson rushed for 17 yards against Southern Illinois, and that's maybe 100 below his average. And just being their coach lost his son, a linebacker who I think probably an all-conference linebacker, no doubt. Jake was an all-conference linebacker, so we all know he broke his leg, and that has hurt him a little bit. But in spite of that, you come back, if they can get healthy, get home, you know you got a tiger by the tail. I like their quarterback, Carl Morgan. I think, 10 touchdowns to 1 interception for a sophomore. That's really good. He's throwing about 200 yards a game. Then you put Johnson in there, and they got 3 receivers with a lot of catches. So very explosive offense. And then on the defensive side, I think my favorite part of their defense is their front. I really like Xavier Williams at 6'4", 311-pound nose guard. The guy can play, and I like a couple guys kind of unheralded, but 92 and 91, Albrecht and Jepson, I think, are really 2 good football players. So a lot of respect for Northern Iowa, and tough to go over there in the Dome, but they're coming off a couple losses. We're coming off a couple wins. I hope that we can play a little bit better, a little more mistake-free. We've made really some mistakes that catch other people around in our games when I thought we had a chance to get a couple 2-score leads, and we just can't quite get to that point. And whether it's a turnover or a penalty, things of that nature that I think are within our control. So we'll go have a real good game. They're trying to, as they say, get some Mo back, and we've got a little Mo, and should be a good game.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go ahead and open it up for some questions from the media for Coach Joe Glenn.
To ask Coach a question, press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Our first question comes from Jeff Kolak of Fargo Forum.
Hey, Joe, what's your program's philosophy on offensive linemen wearing knee braces? Do you require it or not?
Yes, we do. And in spite of that, Marcus missed almost all of last season. And then he come back and get repaired and got hit in the knee again. And this time it's only a sprain. I don't know if he'll make it back this season or not, but it sure doesn't save you all the time. I know that.
Is this, do you look at any medical, do you cite any medical reasoning for requiring it?
Well, my trainer and all those people say it works and it helps. And so I listen to those people. That's not my area of expertise, but I lean on the people that know a lot more about that than I do, and I believe them. They're a lot more into that than I am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Jim Sullivan of the Waterloo Courier.
Good morning.
Hello, Jim.
A year ago, you and I went up there, and you played them within 3 points, and at that time, you were still looking for your first Valley football win. Now you've got two. Give me some idea of what those 2 wins has meant for the program, just in terms of confidence, if you can.
Well, I think our defense is playing really and I think we're pretty athletic compared to a year ago. We run pretty good. Indiana State was over 300 yards a game passing in the league, and I think we got 82 in our game. I think we're nationally ranked. Maybe, I'm not totally into it, maybe in the top 10 in pass defense. So we must be doing something right. And I know this much, we're holding the score down, and our scoring defense doesn't even reflect the fact that I think we've given the other team 3 touchdowns. So we took 21 more points off the board, our defense. They're playing pretty darn good football, and we're playing a lot of guys, and we're a changed team on defense. Tyler Starr is having a terrific season. He's one of the premier players in the league, in my opinion. And, he played a half Saturday, and in 26 snaps, he had 7 tackles and a tackle for loss and a sack and a forced fumble. So the guy is he's really a good player. He and our defense are keeping us in some games. We haven't played very well on offense. We did get some yards Saturday, but I threw 2 interceptions in the end zone in the first half and couldn't separate. Did settle down in the second half and score enough points to win the game. So we're getting there. We're our own worst enemy, and yet you're playing good football teams every week.
All right, Coach, good enough. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jim.
Again, to ask a question, press star 1.
Coach, that was it for you today. Thank you for your time. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much. Good luck.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Coach John Stiegelmeier of South Dakota State is with us on the call. South Dakota State heads to Springfield, Missouri to play Missouri State this weekend. Jackrabbits are ranked 15th in one poll, 18th in the other, sitting at 4-3 overall, coming off of the win at Western Illinois. Good morning, Stig.
Morning, Mike.
Probably a collective from the staff after you broke the 3-game losing streak, but you have a tough one in Missouri State this weekend. The Bears are a dangerous football team.
They're a really good football team, and you look at scores. They got a number of, and unfortunately, this is the way our sport is. A number of one-play defeats. You make a play, and you're on the other end of the outcome. The thing they do that I guess concerns me is they really play great defense, and we're looking forward to going down there and expecting a tremendous battle.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go ahead and open it up for some questions from the media for Coach John Stiegelmeier.
To ask Coach a question, press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Our first question comes from Terry Vanderbeck of the Argus Leader Media.
Stig, I know you haven't had a ton of interaction yet with the guys this week since the win, but did you notice, almost right away, sort of you'd said before, kind of a cloud was lingering with that 3-game losing streak, and getting rid of that, in a sense, can one win sort of, get you through 3 losses?
It's good medicine. I don't think it cures anything, but it numbs it a little bit instantly. I mean, in our locker room, I marvel at the difference between, and it should be that way, but a locker room where you lose a tough game or you win a game, and these guys invest a ton. I don't think any of us really totally understand sometimes all a student athlete does, unless you're living their life, and it means a lot to them. So when you lose, you string a bunch of losses together, it hurts, and when you win, it's good medicine.
And one more thing, this is a question directed from the fans. I get it every week, so I'll throw it to you because I don't know anything about football. Your defensive line sometimes, do they purposely line back, maybe a half a step from the line of scrimmage, or not?
Well, no, we really don't want to do that, but because you don't get a whole lot of interest in your blog and stuff, we do that so people can ask you questions. That's
right.
Just like a decoy. No, we do that purposely. Yes, yes. Okay. That's how we play defense. You've been asked the question a bunch, so have I. That's exactly how we play defensive line.
Is that in part because you've got some smaller, quicker guys, and that gives them that half step to kind of get going?
It's in part because we line up a lot tighter in terms of nose to nose. Yeah, we have gap responsibilities, so that allows us, as they move, to move and meet them somewhere in the neutral zone. So it's just based on, if we're going to line up head up and line up on the line of scrimmage and we have a gap, we're concerned about losing that gap leverage. So we just back off a little bit.
Thank you.
You bet.
Our next question comes from Wendell Scranton of the Springfield News Leader.
Yeah, Coach, it seems like Zach Zenner's, stats are phenomenal, but more than anything, it's his durability to carry the ball as much as he does. How's he holding up, and how tough a guy is he to withstand the beatings week after week?
Well, he's as tough a guy as we've had here, but in answer to how he's holding up, he is wearing out. He is getting he doesn't look to have the same bounce in his step as he had last year at times, and so we've talked about it. It's a concern, but he's a pretty good back. So, what do you do? We just need to be smart. And one of the things that he does also, when you throw the ball, he's got to block a blitzing linebacker, which you're taking a big hit there because he's running full speed into you. So we just need to try to get him out in some of those situations and then give him a break a bit in the game.
I know you mentioned after the North Dakota State game, the offensive line maybe didn't sustain its blocks or whatever in that game. Do you see those guys bouncing back? Have they come back the last couple of weeks and done a better job?
They have done a better job. There's matchups in the game, and sometimes you win matchups because maybe you're a little bit better. Sometimes you lose them because you're not, you're not as good, and it all changes. But success helps out, and we had success last week, so our guys have a little better bounce in their step.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Our next question comes from Jeff Kowak of Fargo Forum.
Asked Coach Quan the same thing. Do you require your O-linemen to wear knee braces?
We do. We require them on all our O-linemen. We wear them on our defensive linemen in practice. Interesting question, Jeff, because I said coming down the stretch here, I told our defensive line coaches, I think we should require them on the D-line. These are their players. And I said, I think we should require them on the D-line from here on out. And they looked at me like I was nuts. Like D-linemen cannot play with a knee brace. But our O-linemen wear them practice and games.
Have you done that for a while?
I can't remember ever since we've been furnishing knee braces. I mean, at least good knee braces. I don't remember ever having the discussion that the O-line would not wear them. So I don't know how long, Jeff, but it's been a long time.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Okay, that was your final question. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye-bye. Missouri State, as mentioned earlier, hosts South Dakota State this Saturday, and we do have Coach Terry Allen of Missouri State on the line with us. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Mike.
Let's talk about South Dakota State. What needs to happen for you guys to get a victory against a very good football team this weekend?
Well, there's no coach in this league I respect more than John. He does just a great job with his football team, and we know we're going to have our hands full. We've always played them well down here. We have to stay away from the turnovers. Obviously, they thrive on those. They have 15 picks on the year. Suffice it to say, you got to tackle. He's an amazing back. He does a phenomenal job. Like last week, he just kind of plugs along, and all of a sudden he goes 80. Last year we're up there, and we contain him pretty well, but he gets 88 on a play. So he's a marquee back. There's no question about that. And I think Austin Summers, their quarterback, we've seen him enough to know that he's pretty efficient.
You described last week's game because Western Illinois turned the ball over 4 times via interception. They don't do that a lot, and South Dakota State took advantage of a short field, and Zenner reeled off an 80-yard touchdown run. So that was pretty typical. The score was much more lopsided than the game was, but that was last week's game for South Dakota State.
There you go.
Well, let's open up for some questions for you. Questions from the media for Coach Terry Allen.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Our first question comes from Tyler Merriam of Jackrabbit Sports Network.
How are you?
Good, Tyler.
Hey, a couple of questions about your quarterbacks. First off, I know Kiera Harris has been banged up the last couple of weeks. How is he doing at this point?
Well, he won't practice today, and we're optimistic that he'll be available for the game. But he took a pretty vicious hit up in Fargo, and he's responding well from it, but not well enough that we can practice him yet.
From an offensive standpoint, how are you different or similar with Harris or Glazer?
We're very similar with either quarterback. Austin doesn't have quite the feet that Kiera has, but similar throwing ability, but yet he can run it himself. So we don't change our offense based on which quarterback's in.
And my last question for you, you talked a little about Zenner, but that 3-4 defense, I know the SDSU coaching staff is very complimentary of it. How do you approach trying to contain Zach Zenner?
Well, you just got to, that's easier said than done. The biggest thing is you have to be gap sound, and you have to be able to make sure that you have the secondary line of defense. You've got to have your safeties and those people that are able to get him to the ground, because he's going to find a way to squirt through there. You just don't want him to go 88 or 80 like he did last week.
Coach, thank you.
Sure.
Our next question comes from Terry Vanderbeck of the Argus Leader Media.
Hey, morning, Coach. Got a couple for you as well. How's your running back, Ryan Houston? How's he coming along? I know you guys were hoping to get him last week.
Yeah, we were hopeful to get him last week. He broke his collarbone early, and last week we tried to get him some live contact, and he took a pretty good shot on a pass rush. And it kind of tweaked it a little bit, and just didn't feel comfortable putting him in the game up in Fargo when you're running back and the caliber of North Dakota State's defense and the way they tackle. But we're very optimistic that he'll be back this week, and that would help us.
And knowing that this year that's a little up in the air, but you guys have played 2 quarterbacks in every game so far. How's that gone, and was that kind of the plan, or is just? Well,
that's a little misleading. It says we play 2 quarterbacks, but Ashton only in the other games only held. He's played the last 2 weeks because of injury. Our goal this year was to have Kiera, but we felt good with Ashton because he had some experience starting games. So he's by no means, when we put him in there, is he a rookie. He's a 5th-year senior transfer that's started 6 games for us. So that part of it is comforting, knowing that you'll have a quarterback under center that has an idea what's going on.
Sure. And last thing, this season, I'm sure, well, maybe not to you, but from the outside, it looks so similar to the last couple. You guys play everyone tough, and it's just seems like everything goes against you on that one play that counts or whatever. Are there some similarities, and how frustrating has it been?
Oh yeah, it's very frustrating. Yeah, we've had a lot of games this year, and we're similar to years past. That we're just not quite good enough to get over the top, and we end up beating ourselves on a lot of occasions. But physically, we're capable of hanging in there with most everybody we play, but we just have to finish.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question comes from Wendell Scranton of the Springfield News Leader.
Terry, it seems like the elite teams in the league have those experienced elite quarterbacks. How important is it, maybe if you don't have an elite guy, just to have a guy who will give you consistency and not make the critical mistakes?
Yeah, right on there, Wendell. You know, the good ones take the great teams to higher places. The people that are contending have quarterbacks that don't make mistakes. It's like, last year we go up to South Dakota State, turn over 5 times. We can't do that against them this week, and our quarterback has to take care of the football. There's no question for all of us.
I mean, I know it's a constant thing to preach to Kiera, but about the decision making. But is that all you can do? Just keep talking to him about it, and hopefully,
you just got to keep coaching him up. You know, and in some regards, he brought his injury upon himself because he held the ball about a second longer than he should have. And that's unfortunate, but he was starting to feel it, and we just have to keep him under the reins, as I say.
Mm-hmm. All right, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
PA, thank you for your time today. That was your last question. Appreciate it. Good luck against the Jacks this weekend.
Thanks, Goodman. Thanks, Mike. See ya.
Yeah, bye-bye. We are joined by Brock Spack of Illinois State. The Redbirds are at home against Indiana State this weekend. The game featured on television network goes in the league package. ESPN3 will also show it this Saturday. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How are you, Mike?
Good. Let's talk about Indiana State. What needs to happen for you guys to get a home victory against the visiting Sycamores?
Well, we got to take care of the football. You know, it's been our Achilles heel when we've lost games. You know, that's always the turnover ratio is always an important statistic in football. That's number one. We just you know, have a very young and inexperienced team right now, and it's game 6 or game 7 for us now. So we've had a few games under our belt. We just got to keep emphasizing fundamentals, and we've been really harping on that. Believe it or not, we have gotten better. And we see improvement. We just got to take hope some more strides this weekend, and we played pretty well at home so far this year, and hopefully that'll help us a little bit with our renovated stadiums. Helped us with the environment here now; it's very, very good, and that seems to inspire our players. So just got to take care of the little things that we all do in coaching. Is coach the fundamentals of football and keep getting better.
Thank you, Coach. Let's open it up for some questions now for you from the media. Questions for Coach Brock Spack of Illinois State.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Our first question comes from Wendell Scranton of the Springfield News Leader.
Coach, you got an elite quarterback the last couple of years, and then this year you're having a guy who's kind of having to learn on the job. How tough is it to be a contending team in this league when you don't have that experienced guy at that position?
It's very tough. It's tough in any league, especially this one. I've been through this before, when I was a player in the Big Ten and when I was an assistant coach at Purdue, and we had Drew Brees for 4 years, we had Kyle Orton for 4 years, and when they graduate the next year, you struggle a little bit, and that position is very difficult. We were hoping maybe that our transfer would be able to give us a little gap, but that didn't happen, and so we're playing a younger guy, and that's just part of the growing pains. He's going to be a really good player. He's a great kid, very smart, throws the ball well. He's got a lot to learn, and every Saturday is a new experience for him. But you hit her. I heard you asked a similar question to Coach Allen. And you're exactly right, and he's exactly right. It's just very difficult to have a championship football team without a quarterback with experience and that can take you there, and that's what we're fighting this year. We had to replace a 4-year starter there. It was all-time leading passer in Missouri Valley history, and that's hard to do. We've tried, and our kid's getting better, and but we've had a lot of. He hasn't had a lot of. We've had a lot of injuries and other issues that playing other younger players too. So he's not the only one, and so supporting cast hasn't been. His experience around him. So as we're all kind of learning together, and we take your lumps when that happens. And it's one of those years for us where we're in transition, and we're trying to get better every week. But you're exactly right. That's very difficult, and this kid's going to be a really good player down the road, and I think he's just not quite there yet today. But he gets better every week, and we expect him to be better this week.
Thanks.
But very good question.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Kevin Capey of the Peoria Journal-Star.
Good morning, Brock.
Morning, Kevin. How are you?
Fine, thanks. In looking at Connor Underwood and playing him this week, do you get the sense sort of now you feel how the other coaches in the league felt having to play against Colton all those years?
Yeah, Connor's a hard-playing guy and a tough, physical kid, and absolutely, they're those two kids have been very good players, and Connor's got a few more years to go, so he's been a handful as we totally expected. Both guys have been raised well, and they understand the sport of football and how it's supposed to be played. And I can't speak for Connor here, but Colton has been nothing but a poster child for everything you'd ask a college football player to be. He's been awesome. He's never been on anything on my desk as far as issues. He's a good student, a good kid. He's kind of been our guy that kind of promote for our football program, kind of people we want in our program, and he's been tremendous at all that. He's worked hard in the community with our fans and young people. So he's been a tremendous asset for our program. I wish only issue I wish I had been able to redshirt him. But I've had a few players here the last 2 years I wish I'd been able to redshirt, but that's not been the case. Here the last 2 years we've been able to redshirt most of our players, and but we were depleted with talent. We had to throw those guys out there. It's all we had, and that's what we had to do to be competitive. But right now we're biting a bullet, and we're redshirting a lot of our younger guys. So I just wish we were able to redshirt Colton when Colton was only a junior. But that's just the way it is.
Thanks.
You bet.
Our next question comes from Todd Golden of the Tribune-Star.
Hey, Indiana State's had injuries that are probably a little unusual even by the standards of a normal, injury type of season. When you look at film of them, how do you prepare for that? They're running, especially defensively. They've been running different players out basically every week. That obviously is a detriment to them, but how much is it a detriment to you in trying to prepare for them?
Well, they are difficult. It is difficult sometimes to do because you don't know really what to expect. And we've all been there, and we're there ourselels. We've had a few injuries this year ourselves, and you compound that with inexperience of young players. It's been you're searching a little bit to find answers and to put your players in position to be successful. So, we all go through that, as you said, and we're kind of experiencing the same thing exactly. Almost, it's kind of ironic, but it's difficult. But you just gotta. There's a set philosophy, on tape, and you try to prepare for that, and you have to be willing to be ready to adjust, and in case they throw some new wrinkles at you on Saturday afternoon. So that's just part of college football, and it's difficult, but it's part of the game.
Thanks.
You bet.
Coach, that was your last question. Thank you for your time. Good luck this weekend against
All right,
State.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. Western Illinois, Bob Nielsen is with us. The Leathernecks headed to Youngstown State to play the nationally ranked Penguins on Saturday in Youngstown, Ohio. Morning, Coach.
Morning, Mike.
Let's take a look at Youngstown State. What needs to happen for you guys to come away with a victory on the road?
Well, a lot of things. They're a very good football team. I've just heard a little bit of the last couple coaches and the conversation about quarterbacks, and obviously they've got a great one, guy that's battle-tested, experienced, and does a tremendous job of leading their offense. And I think you have to start there. You try to control their offense to a certain extent. You're never going to stop them, but you've got to try to avoid the big chunks of yards, and part of that is keying on him He's a dual threat that can hurt you throwing the football and with his feet, and that's always a challenge defensively when you face somebody like that.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go to the questions now from the media for Coach Bob Nielsen.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Our first question comes from Joe Scalzo of The Vindicator.
Coach, could you maybe tell me, you talked about stopping Kurt. It seems like the thing that YSU does really well is just protect him. He doesn't get a lot of sacks, Coach. So what do you do to maybe get pressure on Haskins?
Mobile quarterbacks are hard to pressure. He's got that experience from a pocket presence standpoint. Plus, a lot of what they do throwing wise is off of play action, where you're defending the run and not in pass rush mode. So, first of all, I think they've got a great scheme. He fits their scheme exceptionally well with the things that he does, and so you got to mix up your looks and try to present some problems with their protections, and obviously it's easier to do that when you get them in true passing situations, and I think that's the thing. They're really good when they're on schedule. When they're on schedule and can do the balanced things that they like to do, it's tough. It's going to be tough to get pressure on them. You gotta try to get them into some off schedule situations.
Yeah. And the other question is, York, and there really isn't like maybe a go-to receiver, and not really even maybe a go-to back with Martin Ruiz hurt last week. So is that more difficult when they kind of spread it around like that?
Oh yeah, they do a good job of using their. They've got multiple skilled players that are all very talented, and so they've got a lot of weapons. And that's when you're a good offensive team, you have a lot of weapons, and it's not just the quarterback; it's some talented running backs, good people on the perimeter, and so from an offensive standpoint, I think in a lot of ways that I look at them with the teams that we've played this year. I think they've got better balance in their attack, both in terms of number of people that can hurt you, and also a balance between run pass, probably from a standpoint of opponent as good as anybody we've played.
Thanks, Coach.
Our next question comes from Scott Holland of the McDonough County Voice.
Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
I know last week the South Dakota State defensive players commented a couple times saying that they really wanted to kind of disguise their looks, their pre-snap looks, to kind of confuse Trenton. Is that something where maybe this week you're telling them to maybe hold on to the ball a little bit longer before snapping the ball to get an extra second or two at a look? Or because I know you're always trying to stress to him to slow things down, but it looked like when you went hurry up, that was when he was most comfortable and he didn't have time to think.
Well, I think that's a combination. Sometimes when you hurry up a little bit, you get teams that are slightly out of position. I think in some ways, what we're trying to do right now is get him with all young quarterbacks. Try to do things that can help him build confidence. It's not the way you wanted to start a football game, and I'll give South Dakota State credit. They made two great plays on those first two interceptions, one, the ball could have been thrown better, obviously, but you have a confidence factor that kind of gets involved, and you got shook a little bit and didn't play as well as we need him to play, and so instead of holding on to the ball, what we're trying to do is work with him to quicken his decision making, and that some of that you just need to do on the field. You can practice those kinds of things, but the game's at a different speed when it's being played on Saturday afternoon than it is on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday afternoon.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, that was your final question. Thank you for your time. Good luck at Youngstown, Ohio.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. Craig Bowl of North Dakota State is on the line with us. The Bison headed to Southern Illinois to play the Salukis in Carbondale this weekend. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Mike.
Southern Illinois' schedule was very difficult. They had what will turn out to be 3 straight top 10 opponents. They beat the first 2, and now they have you guys coming to their place this weekend. They're a very good football team.
Well, they certainly are, and a great program, a perennial power within our league. I know many years they've been the top school or one of the top schools, and so well positioned. Big challenge for us to go on the road. I know they always play well in Carbondale, and we'll have to be ready to go if we want to have a shot to win.
Thank you, Craig. Let's open it up for some questions for you now from the media. Questions for Coach Craig Bolt.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Your first question comes from Todd Hefferman of the Southern Illinois newspaper.
Hey, Coach, you traditionally had a little bit tougher games against teams that play at 3-4. You know, how well do you feel having an experienced quarterback versus a defense like that? It doesn't show you a lot before the snap.
Well, having a 4-year starter, no matter what defense you go against, is always a nice luxury. Brock last week, I thought, played one of his best games. They were able to throw for over 300 yards, and that's not typically been our MO, but I think the biggest difference between our football team, particularly our offense this year, as opposed to previous years, is our ability to move the ball through the air. And so it'll be important for Brock to be on point, and our receivers and protection to be on point.
With 6 straight wins, you always say you can improve on something. What do you look at to improve in practice every week right now?
Well, I think particularly on defense, we had a couple of big plays, and any time you're on defense, you get disappointed when a team comes up with an explosive play, and you look for reasons why. I think that's one area where we certainly can improve on. And the other thing I think that we can do is be able to control the line of scrimmage a little bit better. I know Missouri State was pretty disruptive for us, and so we'll need to make sure that we do a good job within our lines of scrimmage.
Has there been any commonality with some of the big plays you've given up this year? It's unusual, especially in the run, but the pass has been a little bit more than the run, I think, this year.
Well, we've given up both ways. Against Northern Iowa, we gave up an 85-yard run, and last week we gave up an 80-some-yard pass. And so typically we play good defense. I believe we've got capabilities of playing very good defense. And those are things, when you ask an area of improvement, that's probably our biggest area of improvement. And so it's not just been one. We've had a couple snafus, but hopefully we can limit those things and give ourselves a chance to win.
And I read Marcus Williams broke his hand versus Missouri State. I imagine you'd have to wear a cast. A defensive lineman can get around that a little bit. How do you think it'll bother him as a cornerback?
I don't really think it's going to have an impact. It was a small fracture on one portion of his hand, and so he's got most of his fingers that are available. So, he practiced well yesterday, and I just don't see it being a significant factor for him to play.
Thanks.
You bet.
Our next question comes from Jeff Kolpak of Fargo Forum.
Hey, good morning, Jeff.
Craig?
Yeah, Jeff.
Yes. How did Carlton practice?
Well, he moved around. I don't know what term to say, because I've told you guys sometimes guys aren't going to play, and next thing you know, guys play. And I would think the listing would be probable right now. He didn't take a lot of work yesterday. I think he'll be available, but to say he's going to be full speed, you know what? I don't have a crystal ball. I think he'll be available to probable.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet, Jeff.
Our next question comes from Lyndall Scranton of the Springfield News Leader.
Yeah, Coach, to win big at this level, or I guess any level, how important is it to have a elite quarterback, a guy you can really depend on there?
I think that's critical. I mean, there's two elements as I see when we've had successful years. We've played excellent defense. We've had a good quarterback. And when your quarterback's playing well, it opens up so many other things offensively. And when he's not, you really have to be dominant in every other area of your game to have a chance to win. And so it's been like I said earlier, really enjoyable to have a 4-year starter and a guy who's playing well. And last week, I thought he really put the ball on the money on a lot of very difficult long passes.
Thank you.
You bet.
Our next question comes from Dominic Izzo of WDAY-TV.
Hello, Dom.
Morning, Coach. I wanted to ask you, did you know, I guess in recruiting Brock, that he had a 300-yard passing game? And it seems remarkable that was his first in his career, that in high school that he was able to throw the ball. And I know that you want to run the ball, but that he had the MO to uncork a 300-yard game?
Well, we knew he was a winner, Dom, but in the style of offense he played, and of course it was a long time ago, we saw some promising signs, but, he's developed his arm, and a lot of that comes with his strength. I mean, he's a really good athlete, and he's got good size. I mean, he's 6'3" plus and, 225 pounds, and he can really throw it a long ways. And so, he developed that. I think Brent Diggins done a great job with his fundamentals. The winning attitude has always been there, but the ability for him to throw has certainly exceeded my expectations.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet, Dom.
Coach, that was your final one. Thank you for your time this morning. Good luck on the road.
Bye.
See you then. Another team on the road is Indiana State's ball club headed to Illinois State for a conference game in Normal, Illinois. We have Mike Sanford of Indiana State with us. Morning, Mike.
Good morning.
How are you? It's almost afternoon there.
It is. It is Eastern time, so we're getting close to the afternoon.
Well, let's talk about Illinois State. They've been good at home, not so good on the road, and that's been your MO as well this year, but difficult game on the road for you at Illinois State this weekend.
Well, the first thing is, we had a very difficult loss last week at South Dakota. Had our opportunities to win the game and didn't get it done. We are so close. We just haven't been able to get it over the hump for several games now. And Illinois State for us is a rivalry game. They're a huge game for us. They're in our neighboring state. We're both have the initials ISU, and we're blue and they're red, and there's just a lot of rivalry parts of this game, and we're very excited about it. There's a interesting, family part of this game in that there are two Underwoods who are very good football players going against each other. Colton Underwood from Illinois State and Connor Underwood for us. And other than that, that's pretty much it. We're very excited for this game, and we're looking forward to it. And we got to win on the road.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go ahead and open it up for some questions now for you from the media. Questions for Coach Mike Sanford.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1. Our first question comes from Todd Golden of the Tribune-Star.
Hey, what's the status of Mike Parrish and also Conrad Nichols for this week?
Mike Parrish has a knee injury. He will travel. It's not a season-ending knee injury, a sprain. He will be on the trip. We're going to kind of see how he is as the week goes on. And then Conrad Nichols is probably out from anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks with an arm issue.
Was Mike? Was it a cruciate sprain, or was it that specific, or where does that stand?
It's an MCL sprain.
Okay.
And I don't know the degree of how bad it is. They've done an MRI, and we have not gotten the results back on that.
Well, as far as Robert is concerned, then obviously he's been preparing anyway through the course of the season. He's been getting a lot of reps. Just talk about his having to be prepared again, and what you want to work on with him after he got along well last week.
Well, I think Robert needs to take the next step. The ideal scenario, the way I see it, is to have your number one quarterback, play obviously the most snaps, but to get your number two quarterback in the game, and that was our intent from the beginning. We were going to play Robert every game, and we did that against Indiana. The Purdue game was very tight, and for some reason we decided not to at that time. We did not get him in against Tennessee Tech, also a very tight game. So we wish now, that we had gotten him in more, but at the same time, it's what it is what it is, and he I think had a baptism under fire at South Dakota, and I think the key is for him to take the next step and improve and get better. We're not going to, I don't think we can put the whole game on his shoulders. We need to win this game as a team and not have our quarterback win. And he needs to understand that he doesn't need to win by himself, and just direct us, make good decisions, and let our team win the game.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, Todd.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Kevin Capey of the Peoria Journal-Star.
Good morning, Coach.
How you doing, Kevin?
Fine. You touched on Connor. What has he meant to the defense in the program this year in his development?
Well, he's tremendous, and he is obviously a year ago he was, I think freshman of the year. Is that accurate? Or rookie of the year or whatever in the league. I think he is an outstanding player who has developed and gotten better each game, plays really hard, plays hungry. He's a hybrid type guy. He's a cross between a defensive end and an outside linebacker, and that's exactly how we use him. I'm glad we got him. He's gotten better and better as the years gone on.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question comes from Randy Reinhardt of the Bloomington Pantagraph.
I know Shakir has battled some injuries this year, and he did play quite a bit last week. Is he pretty much back to 100%, or is he kind of still battling some things?
I would say, to be real honest, I think he's still battling. The good news is this is the first Monday that yesterday was the first Monday that he practiced since we played Indiana back in August. So that's a good sign. But he's still beat up. He's got like four things, that are beat up. But he's a very tough guy, and he's a great competitor, and he wants to play.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, that was your final question. Thank you for your time today.
Okay, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Southern Illinois has done something they've never done before, and that's win back-to-back games against top 10 teams, and they have number one North Dakota State coming their way this weekend for a trip to Carbondale. We have Coach Dale Lennon of Southern Illinois with us. Hi, Coach.
Hey, Mike.
Congratulations on the back-to-back wins. Hard-fought, both games close, and North Dakota State will be another challenge for your team this weekend.
Yeah, I'm stating the obvious there. They're a good football team and not too many weaknesses. They just have a good complement between the offense and defense, and then their special teams, are special. They returned a punt for a touchdown against Missouri State that gave them the upper hand, and to play against North Dakota State, you got to be good at all elements of your game, and if you have a weakness, they'll expose it.
Yeah, and their last road loss was when probably half of your team wasn't on your team in 2010 against Eastern Washington. So they are focused on the road.
Yeah, they're just a good football team. You don't go and beat Kansas State at their place unless you're pretty good. So, we're playing good football right now. Our confidence is high, and we're excited about this opportunity. Anytime you get a number one team coming to your place, for homecoming, there's a lot of factors that will play into this game. So, the atmosphere is going to be a fun thing to be a part of.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go ahead and open it up for some questions now from the media. Questions for Coach Dale Lennon.
To ask Coach a question, press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Our first question comes from Jeff Kolpak of the Fargo Forum.
Hey, Dale, I have like 17 questions, but I'll keep it to 4.
Hey, Jeff, how we doing?
Saluki Stadium record of 10-9, probably not up to what you'd like, obviously. Why do you think that is?
That's I don't have an answer for that. I would like to have it better. We've lost some close, heartbreaking type games there. Games that you would like to been able to win because you're playing at home, and I just don't have an answer why we haven't been able to do that. McAndrew, I think, was different enough where when teams came in and played us at McAndrew, they had to adapt to the field. They had to adapt, a few things. Might have been we made Saluki Stadium too nice and comfortable for the opposing teams to come in, and we haven't made enough obstacles for them to overcome to play there. I don't know, so don't have a definite answer for you.
Okay, and how's your defense gotten better since all those yards you gave up to Eastern Illinois?
Well, we're not playing Eastern Illinois anymore. They're a pretty good offense, and that style that they play. And in fact, a couple of the teams that we played, University of Illinois too, was definitely emphasizing the pass. And then you go and play Eastern Illinois, which the numbers that they've been putting up against other teams, it looks like we had a great defensive plan. So, it's a little bit of the circumstance of the teams that you played, and again, our other loss is to Youngstown State, and Kurt Hess has proven to have a pretty good year going also. So, statistics, I think are, important, but I think they're skewed sometimes because, you're not comparing apples to apples. And now that we're playing teams that are a little more run dominant, naturally our pass defense is improving and some of our numbers are improving. So, you just kind of take it one game at a time.
How's Corey Faulkner progressed from 2 years ago when you played the Bison down there?
Yeah, 2 years ago, that was Corey's first start, and, so that was a tough game for him to get thrown into the fire. The week before, our starting quarterback, Paul McIntosh, went down, and Corey came in and finished the game for us, and we ended up with a disappointing loss there, and then to put him against North Dakota State for his first start. So, it's a different quarterback than what you saw 2 years ago, and, and right now, you're seeing the time invested in Corey is paying off. He's making good decisions. He's always had all the tools, but now he also has the experience to really utilize his tools of being able to throw the tough ball and take off and run and just make good decisions. Now he's still making a bad decision every now and then. We got 2 games in a row with a pick 6, so hopefully we don't make it 3. So there's things that we can improve upon, but Corey's a reason why we're putting up our offensive numbers that we are putting up.
And lastly, it sounded like you guys are pretty pumped up for this game. Is this like a playoff game for you?
No, it's exciting. You're number one team in the country coming to play us, so it's always exciting. It's always exciting to play North Dakota State, and for me, I've played North Dakota State a couple times when they've been ranked number 1 in the country, and I think it just adds to the flavor of the game. It's homecoming for us, so you're going to have an atmosphere that should be fun for both teams. I know North Dakota State travels well, and there's a lot of people that I know up north coming down for the game, so it's just one of those fun games to be a part of, and that's what I'm going to tell the team today. Hey, this is why you came to Southern Illinois, to play in big time games, and this is one of them.
Okay, thanks, Dale.
Yep.
Coach, that was your only line of questioning. Covered a lot of areas, but thank you for your time today.
All right, Mike.
Good luck this weekend.
Thanks. Bye.
We have Coach Mark Farley of North Carolina with us. Panthers are hosting South Dakota. Coyotes coming off of back-to-back conference wins, both by the score of 17-14, playing very good defense. and a new starting quarterback for South Dakota. Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Let's talk about South Dakota. What needs to happen for Northern Iowa to come out with a victory?
You still there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Yeah. No, they're playing very well. They've done a really nice job of turning their program, and they're playing well. They're playing confident, and they're playing great defense.
Let's go ahead and open it up for some questions for you. Questions from the media for Coach Mark Farley.
To ask Coach a question, press star 1.
Coach, you've been dinged up a little bit injury-wise. How are people coming along? I guess we'll make an assessment throughout the week, but how are some of the guys coming along?
Well, we're coming along. I mean, we'll have the same guys that we had last week, and move forward from there. It's the ones that we lost a couple of weeks ago that we should be a little bit better now because we got a little bit more experience now with the players that we played last week. So that's where we're at as far as the injury front.
We have a question from Jim Powers of the Valley Radio Report.
Coach, how are you?
Good.
Talk a little bit about, DJ got nicked up a little bit and was able to at least give you some carries on Saturday. How's his health look for this week moving forward?
Well, he'll get better week to week now. That first week that takes a little time to get through that initial injury, but I think he'll get stronger as the week goes on. Is the hope. It's just you're in the second week, so it kind of mends a little bit better in the second week, and you get used to it and playing with it than maybe the first week. So, that's part of being the running back that's going to get hit a lot. Is you're going to have to play through some of that stuff, and David will do that.
Outstanding. Good luck this week, Coach.
Thanks.
Mark, that was it for you. Light week. Good luck against South Dakota this weekend. Appreciate your time today.
All right, thanks.
This does wrap up our call this week. Thank you for your participation. We'll look forward to seeing some of you this weekend and the rest of you next Tuesday. Appreciate it.